Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Modern Market. This is our daily show from Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. BST, every day of the week, where we discuss all things to do with the modern market. That is the crypto market, the NFT market, and the celebrity influencer scam coin market. That is what we are discussing today. That's what we're discussing every day. We're going to get into all of that and more in just a little bit. I'm joined by my legendary co-host, Legendary, and Sammy. I'm your host, Bchek. And just a reminder that when we're discussing any of those previous topics, we don't know anything for sure. The show is not financial advice. Please do exercise caution and use your own judgment, because this is a very, very risky market. With that out of the way, Legendary, it is Wednesday. It is the 29th of May. You are in Lisbon, partying it up with the highest brow influencers around. How are you doing? How's the little party yesterday?
GM doing quite well. Went to Cook's LARP Summit yesterday in the evening.
You top up.
Yeah, I loved all the LARPs there. No, I loved the event yesterday. Loved meeting Shiv there, who's also in the audience right now. Was good vibes. But the main topic, meme coins. Everyone was talking meme coins all the time.
Nice.
So
It's so good when
I
you
was
go
like,
to the
if we talk
IRL
about
stuff and you get like this real sense of what is completely capturing people's mind share. Yes, we're on the timeline all the time, but when you go there IRL, it really feels that way. So what was the key message there, do you think?
the meme coin season is not over yet, that a lot of people are just happy to only participate in trading meme coins, and also that there's not a lot of overlap necessarily between the communities in the like meme coin traders, NFT communities. There's people who have not even heard about people like Whale Swoosh from the NFT side of things, but who are fully in their micro bubble, in their meme coin trading bubble. So that was interesting to see.
That is interesting. I think that happens. That should probably happen every now and again, right? Like realistically, there should be, like, if the space is growing at a particular rate, there should be new people who like don't know who other prominent people are. Like, if it should take you a while to kind of get your bearings and get to know who the right people are on some level. Sammy, how are you doing? How are you feeling? It's mid-week. Meme coins going well. Celeb coins taking over the timeline. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. Actually, I had a similar experience in Breakpoint. I think it was because obviously being Solana focused, a lot of people there didn't know who Whale was at the time. And I think it's because they have their own sort of segments of the market that I guess Whale wasn't necessarily writing on that kind of stuff. So it's just interesting to see that. And I definitely think there's other segments of the market, whether it's RWA, Deepin, that we don't necessarily get much exposure to inside our little NFT bubble. So it's definitely interesting to watch. But I'm curious, Legendary, like there's the how did the meme coins that were listed on Beeple's thing get on his list? Were you there when he was writing it out? Because I think he was doing like an everyday live. I think Epic Duck and a few others were top of the list, but just curious what the process was.
I know that he was doing an everyday live, but you had to have an extra ticket for that as well, despite having a conference ticket. And I wasn't at the conference at that moment in time. I just saw the everyday later, so I don't know what the selection process was for the meme coins.
Because I wonder if there was any coercion, just to like anyone there being like, "Oh yeah, put this one."
Just shout at him.
Back to a buck.
Yeah, that's the added utility of having that extra ticket. You just get to shout at people to include your favorite ticker in. Wouldn't be surprised if that's probably what happened. I doubt people were just sitting there watching silently, right, as he writes out meme coin tickers. So that's pretty funny to think. I would love to find out more there. But look, we're going to get into all of the headlines now, as always. We've got a bunch of important topics to come. The discussion points for today will be like celebrity tickers, meme coins, where we are in the cycle as a consequence of all of this stuff. Iggy Azelea launching a couple of tokens yesterday. Also Runes, dog token becoming the 8th largest meme coin. We're going to touch on that. And Pump.fun launching some interesting new stuff. So we're going to get into all of that bigger discussion in a bit. Let's hit the headlines and the price action first, as always, from the snapshot, which is pinned up top. If you find it brings you some value today, please do give it a like. Let's get into it, starting with price action. We've got Bitcoin at 67.8K. That's flat. ETH is also at 3.8K, fairly flat, maybe a little bit down. Solana at $168. As I said, the headlines are these. Iggy Azelea launches Iggy token and tweets about another token on the same day called Mother. Iggy appears to have ripped up and then declined, like almost straight away. We'll look at the price action more closely in a second. Mother seems to be trading at a 20-something million dollar market cap for some reason. Number 2, Dog token becomes the 8th largest meme coin after a 30% rip up yesterday to $600 million market cap. This is I guess, one of the main tokens on one of the main runes, which has really gone aggressively higher. Cryptocurrency Dog has experienced a significant surge, reaching a $600 million market cap and becoming the 8th largest meme coin. Milestone was achieved. The coin has also seen high trading volumes over the past 24 hours and 7 days, making it the highest performing dog-themed meme coin in this period. Definitely a very, very specific segment we're going to want to keep an eye on. And finally, in terms of headlines, live streaming is now live on Memecoin creator site pump.fun. This is considered to be a very big deal. Thoughts from Moon Overlord, very prominent cryptocurrency thought leader, said Pump is the killer social app of this cycle. And I guess the thinking is if you can now live stream on it too, that will be just like a huge fun new unlock for that particular platform. Want to talk about that more, especially because all of these people are launching meme coins very, very easily now. So I want to think of the implications of that. Some price action on NFTs. CryptoPunks are at 33.9 ETH, which is flat. Bored Apes up 7% to 12.7 ETH. Mutants at 2 ETH, DGods at 1.2, Captains at 3.4, up 7%. Interestingly, because the meme token is up, so that means the Captain's price goes up. Azukis are at 4.4 ETH, Penguins are at 10.5, Mad Lads down 6% to 68 Solana, and the Nouns winning bid was at 4.7 ETH. Notable sales, talking about Captains and the Memeland ecosystem, a Memeland MVP sold for 43 ETH, because I think based on current valuations, there's technically like 60 something ETH locked inside of there. Remember how the meme token kind of unlocks over time within those NFTs. So that's interesting to see. And that's it. That's the price action. Those are the headlines. Legendary, we're going to get into a bigger discussion on the headlines in just a little bit. But before we get there, what is catching your attention in the market today?
Yes, absolutely. Having a look at the Mintify heat map on the Blast side of things, on the one hand, Mintify keys are up 25%. So that was quite nice to see.
Because of the trading challenge, maybe.
Yes, that would be my assumption as well.
For people who don't know, Mintify trading challenge started, I think, yesterday or today. That goes on for a few days. A whole load of gold up for grabs to incentivize people trading on Mintify.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I saw, I don't think it reflects anymore in the heat map. It did a couple of hours ago, was Wolfgame. The gems that we talked about yesterday that you can find in the cave also saw a nice little pump. I mean, there's still like a low priced asset at, I think, 0.0045. But someone came in and sweep quite a lot of those, and then the floor price did tank again. But quite interesting to see how those will convert to gold once we know more about Wolfgame's gold distribution. Interesting
here, Legendary. It says the floor is 0.00445, but the top offer is 0.01. Maybe a little arb here to do. I need to check that out when we're not live.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting to see. Sammy, what about you? What's kind of catching your attention on the market at the moment?
So just on the gems, there might be, so there's different rarities. So people might be putting out bids on the rarer gems. I don't think the common gems are really that desired at the moment, but I know some of the Wolf DAO guys are literally trying to accumulate those because they're suspecting there's some sort of benefit to that down the line. I think, so I think that's probably the reason why there's a bit of a discrepancy in the bidding. On the ETH side of the Mintify heat map, I know we touched on the MVPs, but I mean, they're up. There's only 2 listed now. I did have a look at the recent trading activity, and if you look there's something that looks a little bit unusual, and it's something we haven't really seen in a while. But it looks like there's a 2.25 ETH sale But actually what that is, if you dig into it, you go to OpenSea, there's an OpenSea deal. So someone's actually traded up for their current MVP plus 4.5 ETH. So the combination of those two to get to the other one. And that's just how it's been reflected there. But it's interesting to see that there's not that many listed. People are trading up for whatever reason, whether there's different benefits for each of these individual MVPs, or maybe they just prefer the aesthetics of them. But I think there's something in the pipeline that could be quite interesting there.
Yeah, the main observation for me on the Memeland ecosystem is the reason why it can trade in a different way to the rest of the market is because of the meme token. So the MVP is up 30. Well, they had a high sale today. Captains is up 5%, whereas every other main NFT project I think is kind of down. So, okay, Bored Apes are up a little bit. Pudgies are, well, everything else is kind of flat, whereas Captains moved a bit higher, more than others. And I guess in this particular market, since everyone was going long ETH, and after the ETH ETF approval, that kind of made ETH coins, which sit underneath ETH, just in the ETH ecosystem, move up as well. So that's interesting to see. Sam, did you have any more reflections on that?
Just for the people on the screen, because it's an OpenSea deal, it's just interesting to see that trading activity still happening, where they're literally swapping 1-for-1 plus some ETH. We don't necessarily see those trades, but like you said, it's probably because there might be more meme locked up in one of them versus the other. So I don't have much more to add on that, but I've included the link in there just for people that want to see it visually on stream.
Okay, cool. I think we'll keep it moving then, unless there's anything else catching your attention, Legendary, or we good with that?
I think we're good with that.
Okay. Interesting stuff. Right. Let's get into the bigger discussion points for the day before we hit the main headlines. All of this stuff's kind of related, actually, because I think maybe what we'll do is we'll set up the main headline and then we'll kind of talk about all of the key topics kind of coming off it, because everyone I felt was just absolutely losing their mind yesterday over this. So if you were living under a rock yesterday or in the past, I don't know how many hours, Iggy Azelea has pulled off a successful stealth MemeCoin launch. This is reported by Tyler yesterday. Very, very helpful little summary. When he wrote this, I don't know, about 10 hours ago, he said about 2.5 hours ago, a token named Iggy launched. It briefly spiked to $4 to $5 million, then sold off. At the same time, a token named Mother launched. Iggy tweeted it out about 30 minutes ago, and it has soared to a $15 million market cap. So just looking at the coins, again, just setting the scene before the discussion, before we get into it, I've got these two tokens here, and I'm showing this on the screen for the people who are watching in. We're live on X, we're live on YouTube, as always. So Iggy itself seems to not be doing very well, if this is the correct coin. I believe it is. 168K FDV. Went as high as I said, I think 4 mil at one point in time, but real sell-off since it went live yesterday. The other token, for some reason, is called Mother and has a 18.8 million FDV. So kind of doing much better. I don't necessarily know why, but it endorsed in some way by the celebrity. And this kind of got, I don't know, the timeline went into a real frenzy. There were a few points which I'm going to bring up, take us in order, and then I want to go to you guys to hear your thoughts on this. The first is from Andrew Kang, an investor, where he said, this was actually before this all happened. He said, meme coins pumping are no longer indicators of local tops because meme coins are no longer the last rung of desirability as a sector. In fact, they are the sector that new capital allocators believe in the most. Memes have and will lead the market, adapt or die. So this was before anything came out yesterday. Then this stuff came out, and Ansem felt like he needed to defend the celebrities on some level, where he said, bros, you got to stop assuming everyone new to crypto comes into the space strictly to rob people blind. Some new people genuinely want to learn, and you're all calling them scammers before they can even ask what a smart contract is. So that was like one take. One take was, these people are coming to market and you're all calling them scammers before you even know anything. That's one take. The second take, which this is from OSF. He said, in case you didn't realize, 99% of celebrity tokens will be pump and dumps. They always have been. Great if you can somehow make money on that pump, but tons of people out there getting wrecked by malicious actors. You wouldn't support a regular scammer, so why condone celebrities? I think clearly taking an opposing position there, and he did actually comment underneath Ansem saying something similar. He said, come on, man, this is bollocks. If someone is genuinely curious about the space and wants to learn, the first thing they do is not launch a shitcoin. So clearly questioning like the motives and intentions of celebrities. And Farouk came with this take a little bit later, I think, maybe like kind of tying it all together, which was, this is the type of thing that happens in bull markets. Rather than complaining about it, why don't you find a way to ride it or ignore it before you go back to 2 years of bad price action? People love to cry about everything all the time. Gotta live and let live a little. So we've got the one side of the argument, which is kind of defending it in some level, which is, they've just come to the market. You don't know what their intentions are. Don't call them scammers. The other side, which is, yes, they are scammers. 99% of this stuff is pump and dumps. Why would this be any different? And then maybe the Buddhist argument, look, this stuff's going to happen. Just figure out a way to ride it. Legendary, what's your stance on it? It's taken the timeline over. What's your thoughts on these celebrities coming to market?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts on that. So first of all, Andrew Kang's take that this is not a local top because memes are the center of the narrative. Wonderful take. Very much agree with that. And to me, another pointer that we just can't take the last cycle and how that played out and extrapolate that for this cycle, because it's just so many things are different, and it's something we touched on the show over and over again. So I'm not going to repeat all of that.
Sure.
And in terms of celebrities coming into this space, I feel like there's a bit of hypocrisy going on with that, because people who are reaching out to, I don't know, friends of mine, friends of yours, who are reaching out to you, yo, I saw, I don't know, BTC is up. Should I get in? Should I buy? Should I buy ETH? Almost everyone who comes into this space is like coming in because something is up, because they've seen a news, because they want to make money, right? And I've seen people on the timeline being, I thought we are here for decentralization and for the ethos of it. That might be true for people who are here very, very early on. And also, like, if you joined the space and then you see the benefits of decentralization and all of that, you will definitely learn about that culture and you will learn about that ethos and those underlying principles. But the truth is that most people who come into this space have a monetary interest because this is the biggest casino in the world and people want to participate in that. And everyone does it how, in the ways that they can do it. And for some people, that means they're going to throw 1K into BTC or into MemeCoin. For some people, it means they're going to buy 10 million of whatever. And for people who have clout and reach, it means that they're going to come in and launch a shitcoin, which will pump and dump. Now, is that ethically good or bad? That's a completely different thing to discuss. But just saying, they're just coming here for the money, while 99% of people are here for the money, is not an argument. Like, you can discuss, is this ethical behavior to use your clout to pump on the meme coin, knowing that dumps and knowing that you will dump on your followers, but just the money argument doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, I see your point. So your point is the financial aspect is not irrelevant, but when people would accuse them of only being here for the money, it's like, well, so is everyone else. So I think that point is probably fair, but then your broader point is, which still exists, which I think is where the main argument exists, which is it right for this to be the way to make the money, right? Like, I think there are lots of people who are in this space.
Exactly, yeah.
Greg Guy, as an example, who I spoke, who was running the show yesterday, who I co-host with in the evenings, he will openly say, like, I will never do a coin. He's someone who could do a coin, right? It's like you literally can do a coin because you have the attention, you have the ability for people to buy your coin if you were to drop one, but he will not do it. And that's like the kind of, I guess, the conscientious way to think about it. Which side are you taking though, Legendary, of these two, of the 99% are pump and dumps versus, oh, no, you shouldn't judge them before we've kind of seen what their intentions are? Do you have an instinctive move on that? And then we want to hear from Sammy as well.
Instinctive thought is to agree with Ovi, to be like, if you're new to the space and you want to learn, the first thing you do is not like launch a meme coin. You can do that later on. Like, I don't know, when Gary V launched, he joined spaces, he did things. He launched VFriends later. He pumped things dumped, but it wasn't like the first thing that he did in this space. So definitely agreeing with Ovi's point on that.
Okay, appreciate that. Appreciate coming down with on one of the sides. Sammy, you're going to take the other side purely for entertainment purposes?
Absolutely not. I think that they are leaning. Well, it depends on the intentions, right? If they're going to bring, if their intentions are to make money, someone's going to lose money. It's more than likely going to be their followers. Yeah. So I do think that, like, if it's just a speculative asset, they launch it, they hold a big bag of it. Like, they're going to want to sell it at some point. Look at the individual circumstances of some of these celebrities, which aren't really that. Some of them are washed up. They haven't done much for a while. They've heard some of their businesses are struggling, so they're financial distress. Like, the intent to make money and then leave is, like, to me, is just too obvious. I don't think they're here for decentralization. They might change that mind when they kind of go down that rabbit hole, but ultimately, I don't think they're here for the right reasons. That's not to say that there will be celebrities that come in, create innovative products. So I think it has to be based on each individual merit. So I guess from that perspective, I am taking the alternative side, but I think with these specific instances, I just don't see how they're not just cash grabs.
Yeah. Do you know what? Like, I just don't understand. Was there another take that I saw that basically already said this? Oh, maybe it was the final sentence of what Ovi said, which kind of resonated with me most, is like, and this is what I was feeling yesterday and trying to express on yesterday's show, which was like, it doesn't matter, guys. Like, it's like, okay, celebrities are coming to do pump and dumps. Crypto's full of pump dumps already. Like, okay, before there were pump and dumps and people participate in them, and yes, obviously everyone's financially incentivized to, like, maybe participate if you wish to. Now some famous people are coming in, they're going to run the same book. Like, everyone knows.
Am I a famous person?
It's the transparency that I have the issue with. Like, if you're not being transparent about your intentions, then I think that it becomes an issue. Like, you're misleading people, and I think that's where the issue would lie with me. I think someone else on the stage wanted to speak.
Yeah, but sorry, who was?
Guys, Iggy's here. I tagged Iggy when you were talking about it, so she's here. Iggy's here right now.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, amazing, Iggy. Welcome to the stage. We're just talking about crypto meme coins, how people are coming into the market, where we stand on it.
I mean, yeah, I think that it's a complicated and, like, it's a tough situation, to be honest, because you've obviously been in here saying whatever you've been saying, which I understand, like, your side, like, of the fence. I actually do. And I haven't caught everything that you said. Obviously, I just got in the chat, but, like, I caught the tail end of it. And, like, look, I'm not completely against you. I mean, anything that I'm going to say, you're probably going to take with a grain of salt, because you're going to take it with a grain of salt. You're going to assume my financial position, or you're going to assume whatever you think, or I assume you think I'm probably in the category of doing a money grab. I mean, is that correct to assume? Because I only just got on the space, you know what I'm saying? So
I think the way to frame what people in general would think when celebrities have previously come into the space is that
I
it's
agree
often
1,000,000%.
kind of,
I 1,000,000% agree, though. Like,
yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I 1,000,000% agree with that, because it's true. Like, I'm not super familiar with this space enough to say, like, has there ever really been a true meme coin that's really, like, ran a respectable life course?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know necessarily that there is. I wouldn't really say that there is. But, like, for me, I just want to try to create disruption in a good way.
Mm.
And I want to make a coin that actually, like, can run its full life. I know, like, there's a lot of speculation because, honestly, I'm doing this with my brother, who just is a like fan of crypto. He doesn't trade crypto, but he likes it. He watches it. He talks to me. And like, for me, I've shit posted on the internet my entire fucking life on Stan Twitter. So like, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of meme culture, or like online digital community, and what that is, even though it's different in ways to Memecoin or the crypto community. There is a lot of things that I feel like cross over. And so for me, like, today's my first day launching a coin. Obviously, I didn't plan on launching a coin right now. It's something that I've talked to my brother about a lot, about the idea of it, because I think that it's like, I feel like it would be interesting to be disruptive and actually successfully do that. Like, I do think that there's ways that celebrity, or whatever you want to call it, I don't even like to call myself a celebrity, honestly, because it's like, I haven't rapped in over a year. I actually have investments. That's mostly what I do. Like, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, I can't comment on other people's financial situation, and it's not my place to do that. It would probably cause scandal if I speculated, but I can speak to my financial situation. And I can say that I'm very well off and financially secure. Like, I don't need to money grab, but oftentimes as well, celebrities, quote unquote, don't need to money grab. They're just greedy, and that's the nature of it. And I understand like the nature of the beast of that too, where it's like, well, ultimately you are in crypto, and like, yeah, people are here to make money, but also people are here to disrupt and kind of like gamble a little bit or have fun with it. At least for me, I fall into that category, which is why like I do only have one wallet. All I've done on it so far is burned. I know a lot of people are going to speculate that I have other wallets and that's why I left it before I tweeted it. In reality, I just don't have the shit super sorted out, like in terms of my case. And when I launched it, it's me and my brother, and I didn't anticipate there being so many bots like so fucking quickly. I know that sounds so fucking dumb, and people told me about that, but like I thought because I had a tag that was not to do with myself that I'd have a bit more of a chance. Like, I made 5 wallets, one for me, one for my brother, one for my sister, one for my mom, and one for my cousin. And I only ended up getting I got one wallet, which is mine, the one that I hold and that I burn from. That's all I've got. Like, so I've been tweeting my ass off like all night shit posting, because the truth is like, I don't know the people that have the other wallets, and I don't want them to dump, because then it makes me look fucking crazy, or like y'all are going to think that I'm in charge of it. So it's like, I'm really trying to float it and keep it going, and like get information of the community from the community, from you guys, about like, how can it have like at least a respectable lifestyle. Like, I mean, life cycle, my bad. It's 7:30 where I am. I've been up all night, to be honest with you, like trying to learn and like figure this out. But like I said, I feel there is a lot of crossover for me between like the Stan Twitter community and how that runs and how memes are regulated and work there. Like, what I found really similar, what I was doing tonight, is like my whole career, whenever I launch a song, I'm one of the only people in the music space when I was in it that would stay up all night long. Like, I now know these are degenerate hours, cool. Like, I've been on these hours because I stay up and talk to the whole world that is Stan community, and we share memes back and forth. And for me, it's like the thing that I'm always usually pushing with that is for people to go to my iTunes and buy music, or for people to go to my YouTube channel and to run up the views, and that's going to make me trend. And like, that's what I'm experienced in doing. I've been doing it, or I was doing it for a really long time. So I'm like, okay, when I started looking into MemeCoin, and why that interested me is because I think it is it has a lot of crossover in the way that it kind of like operates, or in terms of what keeps it alive. I know there's more elements to it. Obviously, I'm simplifying, just talking about like Twitter, or being very simplified in terms of what I've done so far. Like, I plan to do Telegram and all the other shit, later today, and like keep moving on it and keep adding to it. But it's like, I just genuinely find it interesting, like the whole Sahil thing, and why that happened, like, and in terms of my involvement in that, genuinely is just that I have a manager that is a fucking white guy from Louisiana, Texas, and he's great at Fortune 500 companies. He's great at helping me invest. That's why I'm well off. You can look him up. His name's Reese Pearson. He's a very respectable businessman that I work with for years now. And that's why, even though like, yeah, I haven't had songs on the Hot 100 or shit like that in a while, and I don't even rap anymore because I don't need to rap. I'm fortunate that I've had someone that's advised me very well. And I'm fortunate that I know when I'm not the smartest person in the room. And I'm fortunate that I'm someone that likes to learn and is a curious person by nature. So it's like, I've done well in those elements to where I haven't had to rap. And I'm just curious about other spaces of being disruptive. Like in technology, I have startups and things I'm doing now in that space, but I'm not here to plug that. I'm just generally interested in like the conversation that you guys are having, because I want to know, like, how can I be the first person to get a, I hate using the word celebrity meme coin because I really don't like seeing myself as a celebrity necessarily anymore. Like, I'm trying to live a private but cool life. I don't know, you know what I mean? But like, I want to genuinely know, like, how can it have longevity?
Have
How
you thought
can
about,
I
sorry,
not fuck everyone? Like, I don't want
Ziggy,
to fuck everyone.
have you thought about integrating it into like your music? So from a stance of,
Well, the thing is, I retired.
if you earn, if you hold a certain,
stuff.
but if you hold a certain amount of the token, then you get certain benefits that relate to your business. Like you give that meme coin value, like that your fans will then want to get access to that. And it becomes more of a social token. Like there's tokenized attention that you can work out ways to integrate that into what you've done previously, and maybe trying to work out an innovative solution to where you intend this vision to go with the coin. Because I think without that value proposition, it's very difficult to have that longevity.
Yeah, I mean, like, me and my brother talked a lot about like utility and that, and if people like utility, some people think that nobody cares about it and all of that sort of thing. Like, we talked about that a lot because, like I said, like the thing is, like, I went off on a tangent, my bad, y'all, because I am tired as fuck, and like, forgive me, I'm a rambler by nature, admittedly. But like, the reason why I had my manager, I talked to my manager, he's clueless about the crypto world. Like, my brother's the only person, and I have one other friend that does trade on like small scale in crypto. He's my creative director, and that's how I got into paying people with crypto, because of him, because I use a lot of illustrators in Russia and they just started asking for it. So I kind of like started to get interested in like what the world sort of was a while ago, and just looking at it just as a general observer, not really thinking that I'd ever have something to do with it. Because in my experiences, especially with NFTs, and when that kind of went crazy with celebrities kind of like shilling and doing weird shit with it, I just was like, I'm generally interested in the space and have been, but I've stayed away from it because of the way that I know that it looks. And it's like, if I want to come into the space, like, I do actually want it to be organic and cool and respectable, but it's hard. Like, and I think it kind of deters a lot of people that maybe there are more people like me that I think might genuinely be interested in the space, but then are deterred because there's always so much scammy shit going on with it, that it's like, fuck, how do you operate it in a clean way? And then, like, for me with the Sahil thing, it's like, my business manager, I said to him, like, hey, do you know anybody that's like bigger in that universe that maybe could help me to figure out just what I want to do with coins, answer some questions for me? Because I had questions about my original question 3 days ago, and how Sahil got into that whole weird thing was, I wanted to know about utility in Memecoin, and I was interested, like, I'm obviously not doing this, but I was like, I was originally interested in a utility that was going to be maybe like roulette or something like that, where I wanted to like put money into the pot and then know that every, you know what I mean, certain amount of tokens, like it could pay out, and that as the pot like keeps tiering, it could do something cool. Like, that was my kind of original
so
thing.
some type of game where people could like,
yeah,
kind of
like,
have
I'm
fun,
not doing it. I'm not
game.
doing that. But
Sure.
you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, that was my original like thing. And I had a lot of questions about that as an idea, because I don't fully there's a lot for me to learn, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to talk to someone that was known, and like, he ended up talking to Sahil because he knows Caitlin's manager. Cool. For a long time. And then that's how that like got in the mix. My manager has one conversation with this man, and then I tell my brother about it, and I'm like, what do you know about this guy? My brother was like, he's a scammer. don't fuck with him. No one in the community respects him, yada, 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 the whole fucking deal. So I'm like, okay, cool. Say no more. I swear on my son, before it had not even hit 2 hours. And my friend Mid that does my creative direction, he's showing me screenshots of this guy on Telegram posting a fucking pre-sale with
do you know what,
a coin.
Iggy, I think actually I understand why you'd go in the direction of Sahil, because I think for some reason people got really, really obsessed with this character over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, it's like, obviously,
but you know what? I'm actually,
it's not even the last 24 hours because this happened kind of almost before that.
Sure. But I guess what my point is, I think for other people, for some reason, who want to kind of look more into that drama, I think people got very, very interested. But I'd actually maybe like to ask you more on that conversation you had with your brother. You mentioned like he was the kind of main person who you kind of came together to try to strategize this stuff. And I guess I got two questions. First is like, so when you were thinking through that and having that conversation, like where did you kind of land? You said you maybe had this idea for a game at the start, but maybe conversation evolved. So where did you kind of land in terms of strategy in that conversation?
It's like I almost, to be honest with you, I almost didn't. I kind of didn't land anywhere because I got forced by Sahil on what he did with that pre-sale.
Oh, I see.
And making the whole community so fucking confused. And then it's like, you've taken 300K of people's shit. I do think a lot of that is his weird wallets, obviously, but like it's still real people's real money in the mix of that too, with my name on the back end of something that I actually genuinely had planned to be a part of in the future. I didn't have a plan to make a coin this week, or maybe not even next week, because frankly, I'm launching a company. My company launches in the middle of June that I'm doing. So I don't, the MemeCoin in this space is rocky for someone with legitimate interest to get in. I think that's why
just so I understand it correctly, then I guess your intentions were, you were exploring it at the moment, potentially like scoping out.
I was just exploring it, scoping out different ideas, exactly. Like if I did it, how would I do something that had something of value to actually like offer people that's not just some shit coin, like that's what I genuinely was just trying to find out more information about, and then see what was going on with the whole Caitlyn and this whole shit that's transpiring, like I'm trying to keep my hands clean in that because I actually have things to lose. You know what I mean? Like whether you know it or not, a lot. Like I do business with Fortune 500 company investors. I cannot be in bullshit. I've worked for 2 years doing this, developing.
So if it's the case,
so it's like when he comes out and does that,
sure.
Now everyone's confused about if I'm really secretly in on it or whatever the fuck, and it's like, so I just felt
have you had a chance? I was actually I used to be a former lawyer, so I'm kind of interested in like, so just in terms of that, have you had a chance to reflect on how you want to proceed? Like, is there anything you need to deal with that with Sahil, and how this thing came to market?
To be honest
or are
with
you more
my
just
manager,
looking forward now, trying to think of how like your plan to just
my manager is pissed as fuck, and he happens to literally have a brother that's in the FBI who he's now like gone on his own rogue pathway with that. And I'm like, I don't really think you can do anything about Sahil necessarily, though. I mean, you know more than me, you're a lawyer and I'm not, but I from my understanding, he's in Dubai, just like avoiding being prosecuted, I assume, or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't respect people that scam money off people. Like, I just don't respect that. I come from a place where like I understand rappers in general as well are kind of scammy by nature, but like the way that I think of it, like, and have always thought of it truthfully, is that when you're selling music, most of those people are kids or young people in college, and they're choosing a lot of the times between a ticket to a show or eating or paying sometimes a bill late in favor of that. And I kind of like understand the culture of that, where it's like I need to have respect to the product that I'm bringing, because a lot of the time it's a choice between something that's an actual utility and then something that's like making them feel good. You know what I mean? And that's what they'd rather pick. And so I want to make sure that whatever the product in the past when I was in music, whether or not you like my music, that's fine. But obviously I have fans that do. And I always want to make something that they feel happy with, or a show, if it's a meet and greet. I always want to talk to the person. I don't want to take a picture and say bye. Like, you spent $60 probably on that, or whatever it is. Like, you might not have eaten a real meal before this to get the money to come here on a train. I hear a lot of stories. Like, I have empathy for people in that regard, where I want people to genuinely have a good experience. And I like to create experiences like that in culture. And I like to do disruptive things in pop culture. Like, it's something that's really always interested me. And that's why I do get interested in this space. So like, when Sahil did that with that pre-sale and then started posting fake fucking screenshots saying he's talking to me, this man has never had my phone number ever in life. Ever. Like, he doxed my brother because my brother was on a group chat, because after I told my brother about it, he said he wanted to get in the group chat so that he could say, you know, whatever shit he wanted to say to my manager and Sahil. That's why he got doxed today from him. And it's like, you're doxing my little brother because that's all you can do, and you're mad and you're pissy about your bullshit, and that I'm not that fucking stupid. I don't know everything. I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'm not that fucking dumb. And so I felt like I just needed to get ahead of him saying he's dropping Iggy Coin at 4 p.m, you know, yesterday. Now I'm like, I'm trying to get ahead of that with something that, no, I don't necessarily have like it all mapped out perfectly, because I haven't had time to now. But I'm
Iggy,
willing
quick
to get in
question.
the space and
Iggy,
learn about it and try to make it good.
We've got a headline coming up around Pump.Fun. It's got a streaming service. Can we expect to see you on there with your token?
Yes.
Yeah.
I plan to go on that. Yes. I talked to Alan about it yesterday, actually, and we had a conversation, because I want genuine advice from the community as to how to not make it fucked. Like,
and also, I guess just on functionality and things, I think that
preempt him.
I think there's a lot of functionality outside of this. I mean, crypto is one big casino, and I think having transparency and acknowledging that, like, that goes a long way.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of speculators in the market, and there's something called Blast, and they have a jackpot. So would there be any potential to maybe bridge a token to Blast, chuck it in the jackpot, and that's like another mechanism.
I'm interested and have started only, admittedly, like really recently, starting to understand bridging tokens and like how that works. And that's something that I did start talking about today, like just as a general concept, because I'm interested in possibly like adding a real utility, or doing something like that. Like, it's just, the thing is, it's like, I had something, it's working, I want it to keep working, I want it to be cool. I'm more interested in having a pop culture moment. Like, I like to be disruptive. I'm more interested in people saying like, no love lost to Rich the Kid or Caitlyn Jenner. Like, I don't know these people, I don't want beef with anyone, but like, I don't think that whether they knew what they were doing or not, that's not respectable. And like, I want it to be that if we're talking about celebrity meme coins, like, I want someone to say, oh, celebrity's coming out with a meme coin. Is it going to be an Iggy Azelea type situation, or is it another Caitlyn Jenner Rich the Kid situation? Like, somebody eventually needs to be able to say that it was done properly in a way that was cool. And I would love to be that person, but unfortunately I'm in it way sooner than what I thought I would be, and now I'm like trying to figure it out in real time. But I'm not trying to dump my shit off at all. I'm trying to figure it out and get all the information from people that I feel are respectable and trustworthy, you know, in the whole situation, that can give real advice to me, which is why I'm on this space right now with you guys. Like, I totally understand and feel a lot of the same sentiment to you about celebrities coming into a space, taking, you know, liquidity out of shit and running off with a bag because your career is not going so fucking hot. You need to get quick money and you don't give a fuck about this, or you think, oh, it's just a few, you know, it's just a couple of dollars of people that are gambling anyway. Like, I just don't think it's not good. It's not good for your community either.
Iggy,
you know,
can I ask a question maybe about one of these kind of prevalent sentiments at the moment? As you just described, there's a lot of people who have described I don't know with what specific knowledge, but kind of talking
Yeah.
about celebrities as like washed up, like coming into the space with no money, like
No,
trying
for
to get the
sure.
stuff. Like, can you speak to what it's like as someone who is in the industry? Because we did have someone on the show yesterday
Mhm.
with Thread Guy kind of pushing back at that and saying like, no, like if you've got like really if you've had like multiple hit songs in various, across various years, like you're doing really, really well. Like, where do you
It
think
depends
that
how much you're
sentiment?
actually writing the song. That's the thing, though. Like in regards to, you can have hit songs across the years and still make money. Yeah, you could if you wrote on them.
Oh, I
Like,
see. Is that how
you
it?
get
Is
what
that
I
the
mean?
primary distribution? How it
Yes,
works?
that's how most people are making money now in music, because streaming fucked everything. The record labels didn't want to get on streaming. We all know the story of that. And it's like nowadays, and really for the last decade, I will say, like, if you do not write your actual music, and a lot of them do not, they are not making money on anything but touring, which is why they're touring all the time. And that's the truth of it. Like, contrary to popular belief, I actually have written a large part of all of my music, and I sold my catalog, a large chunk of it, like about 90% of it. I sold. It's in Forbes. You can verify all this. I sold it in 2020. So I bought out in COVID. That's what worked for me, and I took a lot on the dollar. A lot. I took 14 on the dollar when I sold my catalog. So like, I made investments off that. I invested in Poppy Soda. They just closed with Coca-Cola. I'm very good, but because I have someone advising me. But that's all I'm trying to do now. Like, sidebar is just get the right advice, because I see the value in that, and it's what's helped me always in life. But in terms of like these artists, yes, you could have 4 hits, but the thing, and you could potentially always make money, but it depends. And that's why everybody can't sell their musical catalog either. You can't just have hits and sell your musical catalog, because it has to be what's called it's got a name, a legacy catalog, where your songs essentially never trend down. They're stable, because hedge funds don't want to invest in songs that are not stable. It's bad. It's not a low risk investment for them. You know what I mean? So they're not going to give you a lot on the dollar for that, or a deal at all. They're not just, you can't just have a hit one year and then you could probably sell a single to a hedge and get some stuff back on it, but a whole catalog, it has to have been stable for a long time, like at least 5 years, where they can see the data of what that is and get a real multiple on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you think as things stand, like the main way these artists are making money is, well, ideally, if you've been very successful, is via the catalog sale many years later, but also just having to tour relentlessly.
Catalog sale years later, touring, because you're gonna get money touring, or you're gonna do a deal with Live Nation or someone, and they're gonna pay you money up front, a big bulk of it, and you may have $10 million and you haven't even toured yet, and then they're gonna take 20-30% of your show money every time that you do a show there on out, and you're gonna pay it back, and you're gonna be indebted to them, and if you don't do that, then they're gonna fuck you on touring, and you're not gonna get in those arenas, you're not gonna get in those places, because they own them all. And that's how they keep the monopoly on everything in regard to that. And then you've got streaming, which, yes, it does get you earn a lot of streaming if you have written and have ownership of your music, because ultimately music breaks down into 50% is composer, 50% is the lyricist. And so you're already working, if you write like me, you're already working on, if you did all of this, you're only getting 50% of that as is. You know what I mean? So it's like, a lot of the times people do like to sell catalogs nowadays, because they'd rather have the liquid available to them right away, so that if you're smart, you can make investments and do other things, as opposed to getting, let's say you make $10 million a year on streaming and then you're paying tax. Also, it's better to pay the tax of that one time on a large number. You fare better on that, and then you can make bigger investments, and you can keep doing music and make more albums, and you have retained control of those albums and still are making money you know, monthly on the streaming of that. Or you can do what I did and you can get out of the industry if that's what you so choose to do, and you can go and do something else or enjoy your investments or whatever it is that you want to do. That's what I did.
You seem really clued up, obviously, with the music industry, but also I'm quite impressed by what you know about coming into this space. Have you thought about the intersect between like how blockchain can disintermediate like those guys that take the big cut from the artists? Like, have you started thinking about that and maybe how you can use your presence to maybe push that initiative forward?
Honestly, no, I haven't even begun to think about that, because the music industry is it's so fucking political, and because I have always been quite disruptive, to be honest with you, and always quite vocal about shit that I don't really particularly like. It's like I do have my fair share of enemies over there, and on a personal note, to be honest with you, I find it quite mentally draining. And so which was a lot of the reason why I just checked out of music and was like, I just want to do something that I can enjoy. So I really haven't, but to be honest with you, I do have a genuine interest in, like I said, people. I like artists. I like people that want to be disruptive. I'm a fan of pop culture in general. Like, I probably would be interested in throwing my opinion in or learning more. Like, it's relevant. I like labels like United, that is paying and doing things in crypto and trying to incorporate shit like that. I think that those initiatives are interesting, but no, I don't really spend a lot of time necessarily thinking about how I could be involved in them. And then, like, you know, honestly, like I said, in terms of the situation I find myself in now, admittedly, I could have not thrown myself in at all. I could have, but I felt that if I didn't, it would have burned my ability to ever participate in the crypto world. That's how I felt. Like, you've already
Iggy, I have one question.
Spoiled my name. If I ever want to be in the space, it looks weird, or you guys think I was kind of involved in it. You know what I mean? So that's why I did it. But I'm just,
I have one question on that.
Legendary.
I have one question on that. Like, circling back to something that you said earlier that I found like really interesting. You said you've seen the NFT hype 2 years ago. You've seen many celebrities coming in, and that's something that you like decided to stay out of. And now, obviously, we have this meme coin cycle going on. What was to you like the key difference that said NFTs is something you wanted to stay out of, but the meme coin season cycle, however you want to call it, is something that you wanted to participate in?
I think for me, the difference of it really was like, what can I genuinely contribute to it? And I didn't feel, even though I understand, in a way, it's like, I feel NFTs have like, obviously, like utility built into them in a sense. Like, maybe I'm using the wrong word, but that's kind of how I see it. Like, there are things that you do, there are events, or there are perks to you having the NFT. There's community in the particular NFT. But I didn't really feel that there was anything genuine that I could like bring to the table that would be organic. So I watched the space. I've always been interested in Web3 or these things, like, because they're disruptors. But I just didn't feel as like a value I could bring, whereas MemeCoin specifically interests me because it's meme coin. And like I said, in regard to music, in the last kind of like 10 to 12 years that I've been on Twitter specifically, or X, whatever you want to call it, memeing with Stan community and creating my own community with the Stan Twitter world, that's something that I felt like, okay, I understand. I feel that from my own perspective, NFTs were something for me to more get my head around, or say, okay, I really at first had to have that concept, to be honest with you, explained to me a few times before it really clicked of why it works or what it really is. Same with metaverse, to be honest with you. But with MemeCoin, that's just something that I felt like, this automatically clicks with me. Like, I kind of understand in a very broad scope, just in terms of meme posting or creating community around it and those things. I feel like I could actually be good at this because I've essentially done it on my own, just not as a meme coin, as a way to push my music and create virality. So I felt like this is something that I know I would enjoy, because, to be honest with you, that chaotic part of a launch is my favorite part of releasing music. It's just like what I live for. But You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's exciting. You get a rush. You get a rush. Like, fuck the rush of gambling or making money, which is fire too, by the way. I love blackjack, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. I get trading. I don't get trading. I'm saying I understand like the thrill of that. I can relate, but I also feel that same thrill kind of shit posting. Maybe that sounds crazy, but I don't know. It's an adrenaline for me. Does anybody relate to that?
Yeah, I think
I find there's a lot of
see some of the
adrenaline
parallels there,
fun.
particularly at the kind of point of release. I have maybe back to kind of business question, kind of related to the creator economy. We're talking about how prominent people have been maybe screwed over by the music industry for quite some time.
Right.
Kind of want to think about that for a second, but just a
I mean,
reminder,
the deals are predatory from day one.
Yeah, so I've got a funny thread here from one of my co-hosts for my second show that I do each day, Thread Guy. He wrote this tweet the other day, and it's kind of tongue in cheek. It's not like 100% meant to be like statistically factual, but it did get people thinking. I think where he said said rappers and athletes want to be crypto influencers. Crypto influencers don't want to be rappers and athletes. And
actually, the funny thing is, to add on to that, athletes want to be rappers, rap because they have the pop culture and they're cool. Rappers want to be athletes because they actually have the money. And then, crypto influencers don't want to be either of them because, in my opinion, they kind of, I don't know. I mean, fame sounds cool, but in reality, when you're in it, it's a jail, and it will make you fucking mentally unwell as fuck. And I think
that's part of I think maybe that's part of the question, which is, do you think then, because of the way traditional media works, and because these traditionally successful and prominent people don't quite have the route to monetization, a straightforward, clear route for which they can take ownership of entirely, whereas if you become prominent on crypto Twitter now, like there's all kinds of interesting routes to monetization, not necessarily by only posting contract address and making money by that way, but because crypto is such, I always describe crypto attention as very expensive. Obviously we run a media company here, and people, if I ever talk to traditional businesses about our rates, people will be like, oh, this doesn't make sense on this particular type of business model or this or that. So it doesn't matter. This is crypto attention, and the people who are involved in crypto tend to skew towards, particularly at the top end, like very, very wealthy, especially like the NFT market, which we focus on. In order to participate in that, it was like a gold mine for a period of time. So have you given much, what's your kind of stance on the creator economy in that respect, where you have, this new age of influencer, prominent person, celebrity, however you want to call these people on crypto Twitter,
I mean, it's very
traditional
hybrid
model
now. I don't think that there's any room for the traditional model. And, the thing that I think that like, particularly the music industry, or really the entertainment industry in general, like has to figure out amongst themselves, and where I think like they find themselves in these situations a lot, is that they're still giving these traditional contracts that are not in artists' favor, and then artists want to go out and supplement. They want to supplement income in these other ways, and they see these other initiatives, and they're almost like as cash grabs. Whereas I think the real future is having it's hard to put into words, like, because I didn't know I'd be talking about this right now, to be honest. I'm like, it's 8 o'clock. My son's going to be up in the next 10 minutes. I'll have to get off this. But like, I think that there's a security in what like label or ultimately studio as well, because we see this with like the writing strikes and those sorts of things too, where we see like, okay, the entertainment space in that way also isn't functional. Like, I think in general entertainment isn't functional in the way that they do deals and things, and people know this, but they don't really, they still feel that they need the umbrella and the safety of these people that have the monopoly on everything. And then there are other more innovative people with initiatives that do kind of favor the artists, and a lot of them involve like incorporating some of these sorts of things, whether it's not necessarily crypto is something that people do talk about a little bit, but like alternate ownership structures and ways to go about deal structure that are very, very different compared to what a major label or major studio is going to give you in their structure. But I just think they are mostly predatory, and the reason why there's never like much leeway on them to where it logically makes sense that you'd sign the kind of the new age deal, but they won't, because of the monopoly. The monopoly is what stops it pushing forward, and that's the thing for me where I'm like, I don't really know how it gets beyond the monopoly, because there are only a few studios, they control everything, they have the monopoly, and it's scary when you're 23 years old and you're broken. You see the monopoly, you see the Spotify monopoly in terms of what's getting playlisted and what's not, and who's under a major of that and who's not, how iHeartRadio works and controls everything. I know a lot about that. Obviously, I have had a lot of success, so I know how it works when it's going good, and I know how they will fuck you when it's going bad. So it's like, that is scary, and I think a lot of people kind of just want to take what they think is the safe bet. Ultimately, it's not the safe bet, because you end up in a situation where you have a very short lifespan of career, and then they move on to other artists, and you have no real exit strategy.
I have a follow-up question on that, which is kind of an observation and a question. Like, I think one of the things which people come into this space almost as like a hope and a dream is something like, fuck the middleman. The middleman in all the other industries like always takes a huge cut, oftentimes too much, and then they come to this industry and they think, oh, this is great. This happened in 2021 with NFTs in particular, where I was like, well, I can keep everything. But then what quickly emerges is that actually there's a whole host of things that people still need support with, like whether you're an artist, whether you're a music artist, whether you're whether you paint, whether you create digital art, there's still a whole host of things which do require help. And the people who seem to do best were the people who kind of assembled. So yes, they were independent on some level, but they still were able to assemble a team around them who could help with some of the marketing or some of course, the other stuff. So
the funny thing is, like, at least in regard to the music industry, they used to have A&Rs and marketing departments that actually provided this. But the reality is, even though they still say that they do, those teams don't know what they're doing, and they're not taking any risk. Like, all those teams are just waiting for something that already blows up, already works, already has the streams, the statistics, and they're just kind of banking in on this, and then they're blowing up, pushing something further that already works. They're not even risk taking the way that they should be for the cut that they are taking from those kids, frankly. Like, if you are, the cut should never be that big. A lot of the time the split will be like 80-20. You see that a lot. 60 is the most you could ever hope for, is what I was told when I signed my first deal. Like, and I'm lucky that I got to renegotiate that, but not getting a lot to begin with. And then they're only getting paid on what they, clear above it. So a lot of them are in debt by the time they leave the cycle of the label too, or the label will come, we've all heard that, and say, actually, you owe us money. And it's like, I think they just, what I would love to see is people like celebrities, specifically artists, whatever, understand ways that they can take their control back earlier, not midway through your career where you're getting into projects or doing other things, and find ways to like utilize online communities to their benefit. I think that's of value. Part of the crowdfund platform that I'm making is called Dream Vault, and it's crowdfunding kind of for that reason. Like, I hate plugging something, I'm not trying to, but I wanted to make a platform where people could essentially crowdfund, but it's not to GoFundMe feeling, where I want someone to be able to write their script and have a community around it that can maybe support it, crowdfund it, and then ultimately I plan to, I have to have different iterations of it as it grows, and I do different seed rounds. But I ultimately, like, my goal with that is sort of like what I see as a bit of a problem solver in that space, and what we're sort of talking about, where I want an independent artist to put up a crowdfund for their project, and then I want those people though that crowdfund it, like I want them to then be listed as producers. Like, how can we make there be an event where these people get to it? Like, I ultimately want to create like experiences or help people to have pathways to not to see how there could be success, see how they can utilize online community, and these sorts of like concepts that just do.
Iggy, have you thought about sorry, Iggy, have you thought about I don't want to shill Vitalik's white paper or recent paper on meme coins, but he talks about using meme coins as a source of capital to kind of do this crowdsource funding.
I mean, people even tried to play around with like that sort of thing with NFTs or artist album NFTs. And I just think there's also just a lack of understanding. Like, to be honest with you, like the crypto world is, to a normal person, it's fucking confusing.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's confusing to know who to talk to, who to not, who's trustworthy. That's how, you have guys like Sahil taking advantage of that, obviously, like on proximity. But like, I think it's sometimes just so confusing that they just say, weird people crypto don't know. And I actually think there's a lot of value in that. Yes, I think that there's so many different ways that they could be utilizing these things.
Yeah, I think
there's just lack of understanding.
I think we're absolutely.
Sorry to cut you off, but the last thing I want to say about that is there is lack of motive from labels to create understanding in that space as well, because then they would not have deals that are optimal to them. Facts.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting point too. Look, I appreciate you said you have to drop pretty soon. I think I've got one final question.
I've rambled enough, but
yeah,
yes, sure.
one more thing from us, but just as a reminder for people in the audience, we do this every single day, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. BST. We talk about the NFT market, crypto market, and in general, kind of this creator stuff as well. And that's what's so important. Yeah. That's why I've been so interested in this conversation, because everyone's coming online. People are kind of convinced that traditional models are not working.
They do not work. They will never work.
And that's why we try to focus very much so on these new ways that people can make money. So yes, we focus on the NFT market. Yes, we focus on the crypto market, but we're also broadly focusing on like how people can try to better themselves by coming online. Iggy, it's been a pleasure to have you with us. I know you have to drop off in just a second. Maybe a couple of thoughts, maybe final thoughts in terms of the people who, in your kind of vision for the coin, anything that you wanted to say with respect to that. And then also maybe on the broader creator economy, what you're trying to achieve here.
I mean, in the broader creative economy, like what my goal is and what my goal has been to develop in the last few years is, and where I'm finally getting to a point now where this is kind of like my baby can be birthed. And I don't mean MemeCoin, I mean like my actual company. But I think where it has to go is, it has to go in a space that utilizes these functionalities. That's why I'm interested in them all. It is entertainment and things we consume are digital. It has to live within these spaces. The entertainment industry will have to die or get behind it. They'll ultimately get behind it only when they're forced to. I think there needs to be people that are going to come out and make competitive deals, make attractive deals, and slowly start to change that. I want to be a part of, in general, people and creators being able to do that and harness that themselves. That's what interests me. I want to be disruptive in that marketplace. As far as the MemeCoin situation, what I'm doing now with it, there's a possibility I'll add utility. There's a possibility for a lot of things. I don't want to turn it into a shit coin. That's not my intention here. Obviously, I'm not looking to rug people. I'm not looking to take a cash grab and run away from it. It's not why I'm in the space. of course I want to be profitable of it. I'm still a businesswoman at the end of the day, but I'm just trying to find ways that I can do that without fucking it. I value the life of the coin more right now, and trying to find ways to just have it be a culture. What I see as valuable in this to me isn't what I can take home in terms of a dollar amount in the bank. It's that I could do something that would be relevant in pop culture, that would help me to be somebody within this space that does bleed into these other things that we've been talking about, that maybe people can feel in terms of the artist and creator economy, feel is a trusted person that they could go to, get advice from, maybe understand how to do projects and these sorts of things in ways that aren't disruptive in negative ways. So like that's ultimately like what I'm trying to learn from this. And in doing this, like that's the value that I see in this, is one, having me end as a winner in that regard, like culturally within this, if that makes sense. Because that then helps me with the other things I want to do. Like that's the true value for me here. And so
well, I think Iggy, I think if you want to come back and chat to us about this, I think it'd be a great opportunity for us to try and work out ways to help you. I mean, we do this daily, so
I will follow you. I will message you. Like, I respect what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I understand the concern. Understand the concern of me coming even into the space abruptly, especially given what's going on. Didn't plan to be in the space. Would love advice, genuinely, because I'm not looking to be out here grifting people at all. Like, and I want to find a way to make it work, but then also make it not lame or not exciting, or there's a lot of that too when people talk about those sorts of them. Oh well, just let it be what it is, and it's like, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. But yes,
look,
I would love to have more of conversations with you.
Absolutely open to having that conversation. Iggy, we can reach out to us anytime. Just so you know, we're on Spaces live at the moment, but we're also live on YouTube. We've got a ton of people watching over there as well. Amazing. So next time you come with us, you can jump on with us in video if you'd like. But
there will be a next time.
Look, appreciate your time so much. It's been really interesting to have you.
I appreciate you guys
on
too.
that, so.
I do really appreciate like you speaking to me. A lot of the things that you've said, even in this conversation, I genuinely find very valuable. A lot of things you've said, I'm sure I'm going to message you when I wake up later and ask you more questions about this, and ask other people more questions about the things that you said. But I do genuinely appreciate like you letting me be a part of the dialogue, and me having, this dialogue creates curiosity for me, more questions for me, so that I can try and get it right, basically. And I appreciate that.
Appreciate you, Iggy. Take care. Right. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Right. I don't really know where to go with the show after that, to be completely honest. Funky, when you tagged me to say that Iggy was here, I was like, wait, what? What exactly is going on?
I just happened to see her tweeting, so I was like, under her replies, it just kept coming. Come on the show, come talk to us. So.
Look, that was pretty wild. Definitely interesting conversation from basically every perspective, actually, from the perspective of someone who's launching a coin, but also the more broad conversation, which is also something which we do all the time here, where yes, we talk about NFTs, yes, we talk about crypto, but we're also really focusing on how people can make money on the internet and trying to understand the challenges in the traditional model versus, I don't know, this new way that creators are able to unlock value in crypto as well as moving forward. So there's just a lot of stuff to unpack there. I'm going to go to Legendary for a second, just for some reflections here, and then before we probably close out pretty soon.
Yeah, didn't have this on my bingo card either, but I actually found the part about how the music industry works and how money is being made in there pretty interesting. So apart, obviously, from all the meme coin discussion, that part was super insightful.
Yeah, I really like that stuff because look, to be honest with you, like from my perspective, when the details of like, I don't know, this Sahil character, but he's driven a lot of people crazy over the last few days. And please don't tag him and bring him up onto stage now. I can't handle another conversation like that at the moment. But like when it gets into the details of all of that kind of drama, I'm kind of switching off a little bit, in the sense that I'm more interested in the creator models. I'm more interested in what people are trying to do to further the creator economy in that respect. So I agree with you, Legendary. I found that part particularly interesting. Sammy, any reflections from your side on this conversation with Iggy?
It's absolutely wild. I think the thing that shocked me was how aware of what was going on in the industry. I kind of expected for someone to come in blank with barely any information about how it all works and stuff. So I was quite surprised by that. And I think that the intentions seem fair. Like, I think she's trying to genuinely do something good. I don't know if that's necessarily the case for some of these other ones, but without speaking to them, without knowing them, and speaking to and understanding what their motives are, it's very hard to do that. So I think coming in, I think having her thoughts and stuff, it was great to get her opinions on where things are at and where things are potentially going, and actually what she's trying to do.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. Displayed a reasonable amount of knowledge on the various stuff, and to be fair to everyone who is new to this space, and I think she made this point as well as we've made this point before. The space isn't straightforward. It's certainly not straightforward to even have a working knowledge of how things are operating. It's quite difficult. You have to have a lot of experience. You've got to play around. You've got to have the right conversation. So all of that is part of the process of learning. Personally, that's why I find the space so interesting, because you have to keep being exceptionally curious and hardworking, and to kind of push forward. So look, guys, that was not necessarily the show you expected today, but we hope you found that conversation interesting. We were obviously not expected to be joined by Iggy Azelea, but we were. We hope we navigated the conversation in a reasonable and fair way. Maybe there were some questions we didn't ask that you would have liked to ask. We apologize for that, but we were doing this stuff live, of course, so we navigated it in the best way we could, as we always do. But just a reminder, we do this every single day, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. GMT. We're live on X every day. We're live on YouTube every day, so you can watch us on video. And you can get us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify too. So hope you enjoyed the show. As always, thank you to my legendary co-hosts, Legendary and Sammy. Thank you to our contributors today, which was Iggy Azelea. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day, and we hope to see you again with us tomorrow. Take care, and bye-bye.